everybody. I'm Steve Bevans, the moderator of Catholics on Call, and here is the second installment of this year's online retreat, which is reflecting on ministry, trying to understand a little bit more deeply the ministry to which we're called in the church. So we move on to our third understanding, or our third thesis or description of ministry, and that's the idea that Christian ministry is universal. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is that, as the U.S. bishops said in a letter that they wrote a number of years ago, ministry is the vocation, privilege, and responsibility of all the members of the church. The whole church is the primary recipient of Christ's mission. If you are baptized, you are eligible for ministry. Maybe you aren't called to ministry, or maybe you're not called to permanent ministry in the church, but you are eligible. It's something that is universally available for Christians who are baptized. There are two reasons for this universality, this open availability to mission. First of all, the church is missionary by its very nature. To be a member of the church is to be someone who is called to make a difference in the world, to transform the world. We say it's not like there's the church, like this community, and oh, by the way, we have a mission. It's rather the mission of God, God who's always working in the world, has called us to be the church, to carry out that mission in the world. So to be a Christian is to be someone who is really called to make a difference in the world. And then secondly, the church has what we call a charismatic structure. And what that means is everyone in the church has a charism. Charism comes from the Greek, which means grace or gift. Every one of us in the church has something to contribute to the whole. St. Paul, when he talks about the church, talks about it as the body of Christ. Each one of us is like a member of Christ, and we somehow embody Christ in the world. So each one of us is given a gift, and we should exercise that gift. So that's why we talk about the fact that ministry is universal. So these gifts differ according to the favor bestowed on each of us. Paul writes in the letter to the Romans. They're different in variety, but they're all important. They are also of differing kinds, and so we can talk about there are essential differences. There are some ministries which are particular tasks. So whether it's greeting people when they come to church, or being a communion minister, or singing in the choir, or working for social justice. These are the particular tasks of ministry. But then there are ministries which are overseeing and coordinating all these tasks. These are what we call the ordained ministries. So there are all these different ministries, and there are some people who are called to oversee them and coordinate them. But all are called to ministry, and all these ministries are important. They differ in kind, but they're all really important. So Christian ministry is universal. Now, our fourth thesis is that Christian ministry is a vocation. So it's a vocation. It's something to which we are called to. We're Catholics on call, and that's the idea there in terms of vocation. And again, this follows from the charismatic structure of the church. We are all given a gift. We don't decide what we want to be. Just because of who we are, we're given gifts in our nature, in our training, whatever it might be. This is a call from God. The way we are, our basic dispositions, our basic likes and dislikes, our basic skills. These are all gifts from God, and they're really part of our vocation. So again, ministry is not just what I decide, but rather what God has called me to be. Ministry in the church is a right, because all of us do have a right by baptism for ministry, but it also depends on the gifts that we're given. So for instance, if I can't sing, why should I sing in the choir? Doesn't make any sense. That's not my gift. I may have another gift. I might have a gift of preaching, or I might have a gift of really getting involved in social work or something like that. So ministry is not just what I decide I want. And it's not what I decide, but also, again, going back to our second thesis the last time, what the church sees in me. So, somebody might say, you should really study music, or you should really study theology, or you should get better skill in marriage preparation, or something like that. The church helps us decide. So it's not something that we just do on our own, but something that is God's gift, and somehow the church discerns or shows that it is God's gift. So again, it's not just what I decide, but according to my talents. So as I say, if I can't sing, why should I be a member of the choir? If I can't preach, or if I don't speak very well, it doesn't make any sense, to become a priest or a preacher or something like that, because that's so much part of who I am. There are other gifts, there are other talents that God has called me to. And so for our reflection, for these two descriptions of ministry or theses, let's look at these two quotations. The one is from the U.S. bishops, and I mentioned that before in our third thesis at the beginning of this session. And it says that ministry is the vocation, the privilege, and the responsibility of all the members of the church. And then secondly, for reflection on the idea of vocation, we are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people God claims as His own to proclaim His glorious works. So ministry is open to all, and every kind of ministry is because of God's gift. It is a vocation.